Hi everybody, sanibonani. Welcome to my channel. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyazifunda iy'ncwadi ebhalwe ngolimi lwethu lwesiZulu bese siza la sizokhuluma ngazo le ncwadi esuke sizifundile. Senzela laba phela abangenaso isikhathi sokuthi bay'funde iy'ncwadi nalaba nje abanqenayo ukuthi bazifunde. Siyaphinda futhi sibuka ama-reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sizokhuluma ngawo lama shows. Senze ama-full recaps, siphinde futhi sikhulume nga-any other issues avukayo uma ngabe lama shows sesiwabukele kwi-TV. Namhlanje-ke ngifuna senze i-review or recap ye-Real Housewives of Durban Season 2 Episode 6. Ke sibone ukuthi kwenzekeni kule episode le. Remember phela ukuthi from the last episode siye sabona laphana i-review showing us ukuthi possibly there might be a sit down that is going to take place between uLachonco benoMakhumalo finally for us to understand both sides of the story. So what really happened between the two of them that made them ukuthi kube ngathi kunokungazwani kubona since they have introduced uMakhumalo to the show. So I'm one of those people who were hoping ukuthi let's sit down lena was going to clarify ukuthi between the two of them who is real and who is not. I did say ukuthi I suspect ukuthi khona o-fake between the two of them and possibly bobabili ba-fake. So let's sit down lena, it was going to tell us a lot as our viewers. As the show starts, that was the first scene that we see. They were going to meet at a restaurant. I think it's a coffee shop. I think for a sit down, they're dressed very nicely. Bashle, they always look nice. I don't know if anybody has noticed Tula Congo doesn't wear heels. I think it's interesting that she doesn't wear heels at all. She's always on flat shoes, but she still looks hot all the time, though, even though she's still on flat shoes. So are they meeting today. Here's the thing that I want to mention. Remember when I did that video, no Makhumalo, I said the thing about this sit down is that there are things that they have said away from each other, that they've said to other people. Like Congo has spoken about Umakhumalo to other people and told other people what is her issue with Umakhumalo. That is Ulachongo. Ulachongo has done that. And my thing was, if she does this sit down, angamtsheli uMakhumalo the very same thing that she has said about uMakhumalo to the others, that means ukuthi uLachongo is fake. Because if you've said certain things about a person engekho, and here they are now right in front of you, you get an opportunity to say how you feel and what you think about them, and you don't, that does seem fake. So that's why I was looking forward to this sit down when it comes to Lachongo. I also did say to Umakhumalo, because Umakhumalo had not had a lot of conversations with Lachongo on the show, except for at the black tie event, which was everybody there. But she had allegedly done an interview where she said she thinks ukuthi uLokhuzana uLachonco has not healed from a relationship yakhe with the former president. She feels the reason uLachonco doesn't like her as Umakhumalo is because she reminds her of her past relationship, and she feels like she uses her to get over her relationship. So I felt like if she can say that about Ulachongo to the newspapers, I'm looking forward to this sit down, because I feel like if she's not fake like people say, because every time I say Makhumalo is fake, Makhumalo is not real, people always come after me. I felt like this is an opportunity for her to convince me ukuthi akekho fake by telling the truth. Tell the person what you think about them, like you did to the newspapers. Nola Chongo is the same. Like you've done, you told Londi London, you told George Olapayan, you told Mabus what you think about her. Tell her. So this was an important sit down for me. But I don't want to lie, guys. The sit down was a bit disappointing for me. I don't even feel like it's so much of the cast members that made it so disappointing. I do feel like the editing of that scene was very disappointing. It was done very poorly. Like a conversation was not flowing. It was like one time they're talking about this, and then the next they're talking about something different. It did feel like that conversation was a long conversation. Maybe they sat there for an hour, but obviously they have to give us like a 1 minute or 2 minute a talk. But I still feel like they did not do a good job in giving us what really all the things that were said in that conversation, and as a result it didn't give me what I was expecting from their conversation. So they sit down, and the first thing that Ulatungo talks about is how late Umakumalo was to the event. Honestly, someone might feel good that is rude, but I feel like Vela, that's an issue that she has with Umakumalo. She said Umakumalo is not her friend, she doesn't have her number, she's not going to be calling Umakumalo. So how is she going to make a conversation? So I thought someone might look at it and think it's bad, but I just thought, okay, she's starting a conversation. Ubuzanda uthi, "Ayi phela, oh wawusibaletse wasusilindisa kangaka." I didn't feel like either of them took it that seriously ukuthi balindele that much. They wanted to get to the point yokuthi kahle kahle, what is the issue between me and nawe? And so Lachungu starts explaining okay, ukuthi okay, here is my issue, mina simithile. Apparently hayi ukuthi they were at Mayeni's wedding, they were at umchanguso laphayana kuthiwa kaMseleku, and it was all fun. Umakhumalo was there and whatever. And then we are explaining ke la uLachungu ukuthi mina my issue is that mase ngikubona next time, I'm thinking you are somebody that I know, I've hung out with you, so obviously sizokhuluma nje kube mnandi kuhlekwe. The next thing uyangihlinela, you don't want to say anything to me. Okay. In response, Amakumalo is like, listen, I don't remember acting like that. I don't remember that incident when I was at Vuma FM Ganga kukhulumisa. So it's hard for me to give an explanation as to what happened, and it's hard for me to defend myself. And it looked like Ulaxoxo was not really taking that explanation. Yokuthi Umakumalo doesn't remember. It's hard for me to think ukuthi uMakhumalo would have met uLachonco at an event kwakhe baxoxe kube mnandi, and then all of a sudden mase meet the next time eVuma FM sekhohliwe that meeting. It was hard for me to believe ukuthi really honestly she doesn't remember, but it is a possibility that she doesn't remember. I don't know. And then okay, I felt like Ulatungo had said how she feels. She didn't feel like she wanted. It didn't feel like she was taking explanation kaMakhumalo. Ungathi akayamukela explanation yokuthi uMakhumalo forgot about that event. As a result, she cannot explain why she acted the way that she acted when they met at Vuma FM. Okay, and then what the reason I'm saying go to this scene is it's really badly edited is that they jump to talking about Ula Chongo being in a relationship with the former president, because she says phela uMakhumalo says phela mina angikwazi, the only thing I know about you is what you have said wena self, which is that we go to soka former president. But the thing about that line was that we didn't know where it came from. Ulatungu didn't ask anything about Umakhumalo knowing about her relationship. That's not what they were discussing. They were still discussing the Vuma FM incidents where Umakhumalo went for an interview with Shinela Ulachong. So, and then the next thing they were jumping into, there was no introduction to, okay, fine, the Vuma FM issue. Now we are talking about what you said about me being in a relationship or being estranged, for an example. That conversation was not introduced. So we just sivele sezwa nje esethi, oh mina phela the only thing engiyazi ngawe ukuthi the whole conversation, guys, didn't flow. And I've watched it a number of times. I think just now I watched it for the third time because I was like, maybe I'm missing something here. The conversation didn't flow. It didn't give us a lot of information. And obviously, Umakumalo is just denying knowing about that incident. And then I waited for Makumalo to actually be real and say, listen, I think you have an issue with me because of the relationship that you've had with the former president and all of that. She did not say that, guys. She did not express that she feels like Ula Chongo has an issue with her because of the kind of relationship that she is in and that Ula Chongo was in. She doesn't feel like Ula Chongo has healed from her relationship. She didn't say all of those things. If she said them, they were cut out, but I don't understand why the producers would cut that part out if she said it. For me, the sit down was a bit disappointing, guys. It didn't give us much about that relationship. it also didn't give me any hope of them becoming friends in the future. I don't feel like Umakumalo is open enough and honest enough to be able to build relationships with these women. And so it worries me. Who is she, is she only going to get along with Sorisha then if she's not able to open up and just be herself? She seemed tense, Umakumalo. In every scene, Yago Real Housewives, she doesn't seem relaxed. She just seems tense. So I really don't enjoy watching her because it's like I want her to be that natural self that she is. Mengabe ekuthando nesithembu. But again, that was the scene. For me, guys, it was a disappointing sit down. That scene should have made this episode, but it didn't. I'm a producers are failing ukuthi asinike the real the real thing when it comes to this scene. And then the next scene here, it's Lonely London, Beno Jojo. It seems like Lonely London and Jojo are getting close, and Annie as well, they are together. Here's the thing that worries me about these three is that Ulondi London, Beno Annie don't really get along with Unonku. And on the other hand, Jojo was building a friendship with Unonku. So it worries me in a sense that I feel like because she's getting closer to Annie and Ulondi London, Ujojo, she might abandon Lokuzanama efforts that they had made with Unonku to build that friendship and to bond as new friends. So it worries me because she's the feedback about Unonku is not going to be positive, especially when it comes to Annie. And it looks like also Ulondi London is buying a part ka Annie. So it worries me when it comes to that. I don't feel like she will make as much effort when it comes to friendship with Nonku. Also, guys, as much as we hate Nonku, Nonku makes Ilokuzana really does make Real Housewives of Devon season 2 because so many other scenes that where she's not there are about her. People are talking about her. So they start talking about Nonku, they're talking about the Halloween party, they're talking about what I did speak about in the last episode. I was disappointed with Jojo. They had sorted out the issue of what Nonku said, which was offensive to the other women, and she had apologized and they were moving forward. So she went back a little bit and mentioned indaba yokuthi black men, all black men cheat and all white men buy. So they're talking about that. Ukuthi, uJojo now is not sure ukuthi was the apology kaNonku really genuine or not, or it was just because she was supposed to do it, so she did it. Akasekho sure about their friendship. And then, guys, here's the thing: this scene was also not so good. It really wasn't so good. I think, honestly, I don't know if they got a new editor for the show because it was really badly edited. This episode. Here's the thing that happened. Ne? So while they're talking about Unonku, Ulondi London says, do you think it's because of the alcohol? And yes, they're talking about the behavior, Kanonku, the things that she says, the things that she does. And then she says, do you think it's because of the alcohol? But here's the thing that makes me feel like this episode, this scene was really badly edited because she says, is it because of the alcohol? And then she looks around and she looks at Annie, which gives me an indicator that this was something that was discussed. It was discussed before the scene. And here's the question: was it discussed between Londi London and Annie, or was it discussed between Londi London, Annie, and the producers? Because it felt to me that they had discussed it with the producers, but to Annie decided, "Look, I'm not going to do it because when Ulondi London said it and looked at Annie, Annie seemed to look the other way, like ungangithinti ngaleyo issue leyo ngathi akafuni ukuthi kube uyena oshoyo anything about the alcohol, or she doesn't want to be the initial person that mentions indaba ye-alcohol. That one, I felt like it was just that the sneakery, Yamalukuza Yama producers, they probably wanted them to talk about the issue of alcohol when it comes to Nonku. It doesn't genuinely come from London. I'm convinced about it. And I feel like who Annie knew about it, but she was wise enough to say, I'm not going to be the one to mention it. When you look at that scene, guys, if you are able to go look at that scene again, you will see what I'm talking about. The way that they look at each other and the way that Annie looks the other way, it looks like okay, they knew something. and it didn't feel like it's natural for Londi to just mention, is it because of the alcohol? It was like it's something that was discussed on this episode. I didn't like that. As a viewer, I shouldn't be able to see the sneakery of the producers. They should be so good that whatever they show me on the episode, I should just believe, because that's what's really going on, because we're watching a reality show. We know reality shows, some stuff is like made up, but we shouldn't be able to see that as viewers. And if we see it, it means that our producers are not as good and our editors are not as good when we are able to pick up these things. And I think that in this scene, we really were able to do it. And after that, the conversation really bored me because of that reason. So they start talking about the fact that they would like to have a conversation with Nonku, because they think Nonku needs a break from alcohol. Here's the thing, guys. If somebody really, honestly, and genuinely has a problem with alcohol, the last thing that they need is people that don't know her, because she's just met, according to the show, she has just met Ulondi London Nonku at her party, the first party that we watched. The spring has sprung. She has just met Ulondi London. She doesn't get along with any. None of those women have any business talking about inkinga zikaNonku as serious. And I think, honestly, if the producers wanted somebody maybe to talk about this issue, it should have been at least Ulona, Usorisha, because Usorisha seems to be a really genuine person that is also mostly neutral. I also think that they did I'm convinced now what the reason her mom talked about it is because she was prompted by producers to talk about it initially. But I'm almost sure that she must have said, you know what, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not going to push my daughter. If she's not ready to discuss it, I would leave it. And she initiated the conversation, and Go seemed to shut it down, and then Queen moved on. I don't think that these two are the right people to talk about issues than alcohol, if really there are serious issues with alcohol, because these are people that don't like her, they don't seem to care much about her, they don't know her very well as well. So I don't I it's not that I'm against them helping her. They're just not the right group of people to help her because of the relationship that they have or they don't have with her. So there was that scene where they decided that they're going to call Unongo. I already knew that was not going to go good, because Unongo is not going to be receptive to those women. Maybe Usorisha she would have been, but not to those two. And maybe even Umakumalo. It's just that Umakumalo is not interacting much with these women, but maybe Umakumalo even would have been able to introduce that conversation better than these women. But Umakumalo as well don't know Nonku that much. So I really think we're going back to Usorisha being the only option if they wanted to do that on the show. So the next thing is they're just going for training. Ula Chongo Beno Lokuza Londi London. La Chongo and Londi London are really like becoming friends. And they have conversations. I think concerning your friendship is that they have conversations, but our conversations are not about them. That's the thing. It always ends up being about Tunonku and about Tumaga Nonku. I want to know more about Tula Chonto, because yes, she did share about the breakup with the former president, but we want to know more about what's going on in her life. Is she dating somebody? The real stuff, though, not the stuff that she's making up for us. So, and I want to know more about London as well. I feel like we don't know much about her. So I heard that these meetups are happening, but we don't get to know about the people that are meeting up. The people are meeting up so they can talk about another cast member that is not there. So if what is the point of this scenery? But they do nice training. The trainer is impressed with London's BAM. And I don't know what was happening with Ilokuza, the trainer. It looked like ufake Ilokuza ni Why would you put that on during training? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't even understand why people want this in Nkulu. Honestly. But yeah, benze i-training, and then uLachonko starts telling uLondi London about the meet up with the Queen. Remember they went bayakwenza their feeds, and their toes as well, pedicure. and had that conversation. So she's just trying to find out who's with Lonely London, where does she stand with the Queen. Lonely London is like, you know what? Anyway, even though she said what she said, when I know who's and I'm not empty up here, so I'm over it. But I don't know about the other ladies. This is just me. And then uLachongo decides to tell uLokhuzana uLondi London ke about her meeting with Makhumalo and telling her ukuthi what happened. And then she was telling uLondi London ukuthi Makhumalo is denying remembering that incident. She's saying she forgot about that incident. Here's what I don't like about uLokhuzana. uLondi London. Londi London, it's almost like in friendship, if ewumngani nawe uzovumelana naleyo nto leyo oyishoyo, she will agree with you. And because really mina, if I was having that conversation with Ulachoncho, I would have really just found out more about what happened in that meeting. So how do you feel about it? When do you feel like there's a chance that you guys will build a friendship? When uLokhuzana Ulachoncho said uMakhumalo phela uthi ukhohliwe, uLondelanda was like, huh? How is that possible? Ukuthi ukhohliwe, you know? I feel like sometimes you need a friend that is gonna be like, but Latkonto, what if really honestly she didn't pay attention that day? And what if she just, was nervous about the interview and she didn't pay attention that you were there? Maybe she thought because she was coming for an interview, she mustn't show ukuthi uyakwazi, and that's why. And is it really a big deal, so much so that you can't build a friendship with her? Sometimes we need friends that can give you a different perspective. And I don't think that Tulondi London is that friend for anybody on the show. I think she goes with the flow. If she is your friend and she feels like you don't like that person, she's going to agree with you in that conversation. She's not going to make you see the other side. And I do feel like in this instance, I didn't feel like she was a good friend to Ulukuzanula Chonto. She could have made her see a different side of the conflict, if we can call it a conflict between Ulachonto and Umakumal, but she didn't do that. And so I don't think that she makes a good friend in that sense. I think she's just a good friend for laughter and the jokes, like they do with Ulachonto. But when it comes to like deep stuff, I don't think that she is a good friend. The next thing was just Uselisha with Umakumalo. Umakumalo is at Selisha. Did I say Selisha? Sorisha's house. Usorisha noMakhumalo. So uMakhumalo is at Sorisha's house. She goes upstairs to the closet. Was the closet? I can't remember. Was it the closet that was being renovated or the toilet? There was it the bathroom. Yeah, but anyway, I thought they were at some designer shop because I fit up to that scene and I had to rewind. And then I'm like, hey, rich people's houses. It's a Sorisha's closet. So she goes, we are convinced, and then Makumalo did comment to say, "Oh, everything here you can see, it's like money, money, money." And Kona this thing, Makumalo, that she does, I don't know, the laughter that she goes, like, I know my friends Gamakumala Zongsha guys, but you will have to watch that episode to see um how she is just not being herself. Like the laughter, she just seemed like she's trying too much to be somebody different from who she is. I wish she would just relax, Zimba, and just be herself. She doesn't have to laugh at everything that Sorisha says. You know what I mean? Because she likes Sorisha. She can just relax and just be herself and be playful and stuff. And it just didn't work for me. But yeah, they talk about the Halloween. She says, Makumal, her explanation for leaving early at the Halloween party is that she was concerned because should she have something serious, I guess maybe she means COVID. Should she have something serious, she didn't want to be the one that is responsible for giving that to other people. At the same time, she didn't want people to panic and be like, oh my God, I think maybe I have, COVID or something. That's my understanding of that conversation. That's why she just decided to leave early. So Richard does express was worried Makumalo because Makumalo hasn't come out of a shell. I think I agree with that. I haven't met the real Makumalo on this show. In fact, I'm missing Utandonis Tempo at this point. I'm missing Utandonis Tempo. I feel like I can't wait to see the Utandonis Tempo Makumalo because that's more real than this Makumalo. It's like we moved from fake to even more fake to Ulukuzan. Real Housewives. So I feel like I just wanted to go back to uthando nesithembu, at least ke sibone lo Thobile lo esimaziyo nesimjwayele, siphinde simbuke on Monday kwigumbi lamakhosikazi, the real Makhumalo, because this one here who's laughing, that was just being real. I really want her to relax, Umakhumalo. Be yourself, girl. We like you being yourself. So, but so she did say, sorry, she feels good, she's not out of her shell yet, and as a result, she hasn't. It's preventing her from getting to know the other women, because really, honestly, you can't just be following Sorisha around. You need to see other women as well and make friends with other women as well. So then she decides, sorry, she was just going to invite them, Tobile with her husband, to dinner. I decided to have an open mind this time, because the first time I was like, Musa was coming, I was like, oh my God, I'm just over it. I don't want to hear anything about his table. But I decided to have an open mind about this one. I was like, okay, let's look forward to it and see what happens. So she invites them, and then yeah, if I say fake again, when it comes to Makumalo, guys, it's because on this episode she was giving fake from beginning to end. I don't even want to lie to you. You will have to watch this episode to see how she was acting. And it might not be that Umakumalo is sitting down thinking, I'm going to be fake. It might be it's an uncomfortable environment for her, and she just is trying to get comfortable, but she's not. And when you are in an uncomfortable environment, it's hard to be yourself. So maybe it's just that I don't think she's sitting down and being like, I'm gonna act this way instead of that way. But it comes off as fake for me, guys. And you are allowed to say on the comment section that you love Makumalo and you disagree with me on this one. And I'm okay with that. So she invites them get to kuzoba ulokhuzana no-Uncle Vivian no-Sorisha, and it's going to be uMakhumalo with her husband ulokhuzana uMusa Mseleku. So it's going to be an interesting dinner. Yeah. So I said Makumalo's laughter again, because she did that laughter that I just like, I don't even know where it comes from. She just shy, guys. We are trying Makumalo, I know. And then there is the other scene. This next one here, guys. When I say this episode was really badly done, I'm not even joking with you guys. It really was badly done. The real editor must have been sick or something on this, because the person that edited this one just really didn't do a good job. Here's another problem that we had in this episode. So Umaga London has flew in, has flown in. Yes, guys, has flown in from wherever she stays to visit to London, but it's because they want to talk about members, which I'm over. Okay, you are going to have a member, so like now let's just move on until members so date has come. But they're still discussing a date, I guess, and she's updating her mom ukuthi uye wakhuluma with what's the girl that had visited her husband's sister, but discuss leyo nto. Apparently ifamily husband yakhe is going to have has two events to do before they can do members. So guys, I guess some families, they do things the way that they do things. I mean, if you want to members, so I go, guys, you choose a date, you tell the people come, you do members. But I guess they said kunemsebenzi ewuthiwa efanele yenziwe before members and whatnot. It's a long story. Her mom is like, listen, girl, we just want a date, we just want a date. But here is where they went wrong with this scene, guys. So London starts telling her mom about Annie has introduced me to these other housewives, and I'm getting to know them. I don't know them very well, but she's talking about them as if it's the first time that she's talking about these housewives to her mom. But then I'm thinking, but your mom has already even met them. Not only does she know about them, she has met them, because she met them, all of them, at the sip and see. So I'm like, Haibo, lesson, was it supposed to be like way back at the beginning, and then they took it by Fagaland? Because it's a new thing in her life. There's these women, Abasha, in her life. She doesn't know them very well and whatever. and her mom doesn't know them, and her mom was acting like, now we are about these women. How is it the first time she hears about these women? Because she has met them wabakhulumela isingisi laphayana kwi-event. Ngiyakhumbula ekhuluma isingisi umama, nje angithi bekukhona the housewives. So how is she not knowing about these women now? But she doesn't, apparently she doesn't know. She doesn't know. It was another bad editing. But there was a scene. They talk about the queen. They talk about shuthi nje wamchazela ukuthi, oh, so kunomama lana one of the housewives uzibiza queen, and then uma wakhe uthi hayi uyiqueen yakuphi, iqueen kabani? Athi phela iqueen kufanele kube iqueen yomuntu. Athi manje indaba, is it real housewives or is it uthi nama-housewives or ama-grandmas or whatever. Then she needs to find other grandmas to hang out with. Why is she hanging out with you guys? And then Lord Lana is like, maybe you should give her a call, and you guys can hang out so she doesn't hang out with us. But the mom is like, yeah, I mean, I'm the queen myself, so we might not get along because I'm the queen. It was just a funny conversation that they had. But it was weird that they were talking about these housewives as if they don't know them when the mother already knows them and has met them. So, it was another disappointing edit for me on this episode. So now they're at Jojo's house, London, and bayaxoxela. Remember phela when they discussed meeting up with uNonku and talking about the alcohol issue, when he was like, guys, I'm not gonna be part of that. I'm not gonna be part of that. And that's why I say, because anyways, they probably, the producers wanted them to talk about it. I know Annie already has done the show long enough to know when things could go bad, and she was like, no, I'm not doing that. And these newbies, being uJojo, Beno Lokuzana, Beno Londi London, being the newbies in this reality show, uh, could not pick up what it's a setup, and also the fact that they're still fighting for their place on Real Housewives, they might feel obligated to do certain things that the producers are asking them to do, even though it's uncomfortable for them, and even though they might feel it's not right. So they're there at Jojo's house, and then Unonku shows up a little bit later after they had a bit of a discussion. And when she shows up, she's surprised because she thinks she's invited by Jojo, and then she finds Londi London there. And then Lord London says, "Ukuthi, you are always drunk." I guess she was introducing Pela what they wanted to talk about. And I guess they gave uNonku indication which they had a conversation about her engekho, and uNonku felt like, how got the way you guys gossiping about me, and then London is like, no, actually what we were discussing is the fact that you are always drunk at all our events. And obviously, I already knew Utunongo is not going to be receptive to it. And she's like, what do you mean? I mean, I feel like you are judging me right now. I'm not always drunk at every. She was just defensive. Listen, guys, I've said, and I'm gonna wait a little bit when it comes to Ishkan Nkono because I really don't know if it's really that much of a problem. Because yes, she is always drunk, but she's always drunk at parties. It's always at places where they're all there having fun. So can we really say that she's having an alcohol problem if Vele she's just having fun and Vele they shoot her while she's having fun? Because we never see her at work. Maybe if we had seen her at work arriving drunk or at a photo shoot arriving drunk or whatever, but it's always at parties. So sometimes that's what gives me a doubt. So-ke kuyasho ukuthi yazi laba bangibizela umbhede, bangibizela ulwabishi wento njena bazongijaja lana and whatnot. She was not receptive at all. And uLondi London was just insisting on saying, you always talk about being real. So why are you not being real right now? You've been arriving drunk at every event that we've had, and you are drunk right now. The argument Kanonku is, you don't know me, London. You don't know me drunk. You don't know me sober. She asked her, okay, you met me just the other day at the Spring has Sprung. Was I drunk or was I sober? And London is like, no, at the Spring has Sprung, you were sober. And then Unoku is like, do you see how much you don't know me? I wasn't sober at the Spring has Sprung party. I wasn't sober. She was trying to tell her, you don't know me enough to make a decision that I have an alcohol problem, you know. And I understand that it's something like that, guys. You need to know this is it needs to be like your best friend. You know them, you know that their behavior has changed because of their use of alcohol. This is a family member, this is your cousin that you're very close to, you understand them. You can't just be talking to somebody about this that you've just met like 2 weeks ago. I get Nonku's point in that sense, but also Nonku did give us a little bit more information with that statement, because if she says that she was drunk at the spring has sprung, if when she arrived drunk already, that tells us something, you know. You're preparing for your own party, it's a very important party, you are a host to a party. Why would you arrive drunk? If she was right that she was drunk. And also if she's able to act normal while she is intoxicated, it gives us something to think about. You could say, hey, maybe this problem that they're talking about really does exist. And I don't think that her intention was that. I think her intention was to defend herself, to say, you don't know me enough to know if this is a problem for me or not. And I get that too. Okay. So it didn't go well. It didn't go well. She ended up saying, you know what, I don't give an F what you guys uh, I think. I think honestly because she doesn't care about those women, and she knows which those women don't care about her. So why would she care what they think about her? So then the next thing here was Sorisha with uh, her husband, and Umseleku with his wife, basically dinner. A nice setup, the table is set, Uncle Vivian is there, you know, they're going to dinner. I get, but again, really, I think it's another scene where Umakumala, guys, I'm just gonna be honest, okay? Zitando Zgamakumala, I'm just gonna be honest, okay? She was uncomfortable, she was doing that laughter, that nervous laughter. Umakumalo, she was almost like when you're trying too hard to act proper. And then, you know, she wasn't relaxed, she wasn't herself. Basically, mina ngisafuna ukumitha uMakhumalo nje on this season. And they start by talking before they have dinner. And then Vivian wanted to, before they start talking about dinner. And then Uselego is like, I don't know if you know that I have 4 wives. Who doesn't know that you have 4 wives? Because you tell everybody, everybody that listens, you tell them. You meet somebody, you tell them you're 4 wives. You are on TV with 4 wives. But obviously, the first thing that came out of his mouth, Umtsele, was, you know, I have 4 wives. Yeah, I have 4 wives so far, which means he's still gonna take number 5. And then they talk about I don't know if Vivian wanted to. He was talking about the alcohol, whether it's the wine or the whiskey, guys. I don't know these things, but I think it was the wine. And then Utobile wanted to say, but my husband doesn't drink. But I don't know if Umsele wanted to impress. So I was so confused now to say, I'm not even sure now whether Umselegu now is not acting like herself, or he was doing Letabeyish, because he said, you know, when you're in Rome, you do what Romans do. Because guys, if you don't drink, you don't drink. Like, you don't go to somebody's house all of a sudden so you're putting wine, because Umselegu really is a well-off man financially. If he wants to get himself wine, he can get himself wine. Why would, just because you're in this person's house now, so we are poor, you know. So we said no, he's going to drink, and he wanted to do. That thing was, you know, kade sidla inyama nge-weekend, and inyama yangaphakathi enye esiyidle namhlanje beyilumela. Uyakwazi ukulumela uma udla kuthi uma ingawashwanga kahle inyama le eyithawula ithi that scene was like that. It was uncomfortable like that. Because both Makumalo and Umselego didn't seem like they were being themselves. I mean, the mere fact that you don't drink, but because you want to impress these people, you decide today you're going to drink. He didn't look like he knows a lot about wine. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing a lot about wine. I don't know a lot about wine, but you could just say, you know, you can have your wine, Mina, I'm not going to have, or let me just taste. But it just seemed like they were trying too hard to impress. And Usorisha just found the whole thing funny. And then at some point, Usorisha and Tobile went to dish some food. for both of them, for the husbands, and the husband stayed and talked about businesses, and yeah, they came back and then they did the wine thing and then they tasted the wine and whatever. And Makumalo was just there to support. Well, Mseleko was being fake there with Makumalo supporting there with her laughter. It was just a kancane. But I guess that the food was nice. Makumalo uncomile ukudla and all that Usorisha had cooked. And then the next thing is Nonku with the life coach. When I saw that Uguti she's missing with her life coach, I thought we're finally going to hear what Nonku's issues are and how she's going to go about resolving them for herself, for her growth, for her to be able to take care of kids, which she's able to do anyways, and for her to be able to relate better with these women that she's trying to build friendships with. I really thought that's what we were gonna get, but nah. And they talk about how Unonku might possibly be needing an after divorce care. I thought they were talking about her divorce because I thought, but she's not really divorced because she said they're not legally divorced with their husband yet and he still lives at their old house. And then I realized, no, they're actually not talking about Nonku's divorce. They're talking about her parents divorced. And I'm like, she's still, Kandi, how long did her mom and dad divorce when she still needs an aftercare sessions and after divorce care sessions, whatever you call them. And yeah, and then the queen shows up. While I was hoping, in that scene, they didn't use it very well. The queen should have not been brought to that scene because I really wanted to know more. I wanted, if the I don't know what happened to these producers in this episode because honestly, one thing that they should have made sure that Nonku does on this scene was talk about her alcohol issues. Even if she was going to express to her life coaches, you know what, I have an issue where people around me think I have an alcohol problem, but I don't think I have an alcohol problem. I don't think I have an alcohol problem. And they have that discussion, and I think it would have benefited a lot of viewers. It would have given us a lot of information about Nonku and where she stands with this issue without her feeling judged by the other women. But it also could have possibly helped other people that are dealing with this issue because sometimes you drinking, you take a drink here and there, but you don't realize that it's becoming a problem. So I really think in this scene they missed that opportunity to just introduce that element to the show, and they didn't because the queen showed up and then Nonku wanted to talk about ama issues kama wakhe and abandoned the conversations about ama issues akhe. Guys, listen, I wanted to I wanted so much to like this episode, but everything that was happening in this episode left me with questions and left me with like, okay, they need to go and get the editor, the person that was editing these episodes, because if the person is on leave, they need to come back because we need or fire this one and get another one, or maybe he edited this episode drunk or something. The next thing was Jojo had a pool party. Everyone shows up except for Makumalo, or should I say yet? Shows up. They're talking. They're having fun. Londi's there. Like Tonto, they start dancing, teaching each other some dance moves, and they're all relaxed in their swimwear and whatever. Ingubo zabo ezipholile, uthola Tonto yena kuyingubo epholile. And then while they are there, kuqhamuka this guy with flowers. Okay, uqhamuka ney'mbali-ke ulona, and then uLachonto sees this person first. First, uLachonto sees this person first, ephethe ebhalweni, and she's like, Jojo, you have a visitor. And then ulona, uJojo is umangele ukuthi a visitor what? Take some flowers, kubhaliwe petal for my petals, or petals for my petal. Is it petals for my petal? And then it's for let's see. Okay. For let's see. I Amangal. Honestly, initially when I watched it, I thought she was really genuinely surprised. These flowers are for her. It's for Mr. Petal that we don't know yet. That is a secret lover that she apparently has. But everyone else was questioning, does this guy even exist? Why does it look like Ulachongo sent herself the flowers? And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. Because really, how does Mr. Petal know where Ulachongo is? And why would Mr. Petal call Ulachongo Lassie? And because uLachoncho as well calls uPetal Petal because akafuni ukumbiza with his real name. So how is he going to make a petal reference on the card, Kuma Flowers, when the petal name is not really his name? It is the name that uLachoncho has given to him to hide his identity. So I was like, I know, now I'm becoming suspicious. It does look like there is a possibility that, but according to her, the man that she's seeing has sent her flowers. She's at her friend's pool party. The guy sent her the flowers. It was beautiful flowers, guys. I mean, flowers, it was beautiful flowers. But it just didn't seem like 100%. It did seem like, yeah, he sends you flowers. And I guess we'll see in the next episode what's her name. Is it real what she got the flowers from somebody, or did she buy herself flowers and told the guy, I'm going to this address, show up at this time. So later on at the pool party, Makumaro shows up. These producers are just up to set Uma Kumalo up for no, because what they just made her show up late. They made her show up late. No, Makumalo is not a late comer, guys. Makumalo is not a late comer, but she's not picking up this time because she's being set up by this producers. Ufike late, sekufike ngisho ama-flowers ngalo choncho. So my figure Ulona had just announced ukuthi they're going to go away um to a girls trip for 2 days. What's the place that they go? Nombiti. I don't know the place. I must research it. They're going to go away to Nombiti, all girls, 2 days. I don't know why they're only doing 2 days because we need a longer holiday so they can, have more drama there when they are tired of each other. But yeah, they're going to go away. Umakhumalo shows up. Sekwenziwe zonke lezo zinto. And then they tell her about the trip and she wakhahlela umlenze. I wish ukuthi bengingesona isidudla khona bengizonukhombisa. She did a spin kick. Yeah, yasazi i-spin kick. You remember ama-movie ama-China? Konje bekubani? Not Jackie Chan. There was another one before Jackie Chan. Hey, you guys are kids. Before Jackie Chan, there was another guy, China. Bruce Lee. She did a Bruce Lee kick. I think she's trying to come out of her shell. Good for her if she is. I really hope with this trip she becomes more herself and she opens up more, she builds some friendship. Because any friendship that seems to not be working out here is a friendship with Ulatongo. But there is Londi Langdan, there is Nonku, there is Umabusi. If they invite her, she can still build friendships with these other women. So yeah. But that was the episode for today, guys. Please tell me what you think about it in the comments section. And yeah, guys, like the video, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Nginithanda kakhulu.